With the AI platform, especially the MAT platform from GATC, we have the ability to really use artificial intelligence in a manner that allows us to circumvent a lot of the trial and error that goes into those early stage experiments, getting us into the clinic, and really does I think, a fantastic job of projecting where we should focus our efforts on sorting out those things that could be problematic.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Lisata Therapeutics CEO, Dr. David Mazzo, as well as GATC Health Chief Business Officer, Tyrone Lam. David, Ty, very good to speak with you. David, I'm going to start with you. What convinced Lisata to expand this partnership and lead development of GATC's opioid use disorder candidate into phase 1 trials?
Well, thanks, Stephen. It's always a pleasure to be here. You know, our relationship with GATC has been growing at a speed that I think is reflective of how well we work together. And the reason that we've expanded the partnership is that we see a real symbiotic relationship between the two organizations. We have on the one side, a vast experience in clinical and regulatory product development, bringing drugs to market, certainly based on the traditional paradigm of drug development. And on the other side, we have really bright people working in bioinformatics and artificial intelligence, bringing to bear a tool that should completely change the paradigm and allow for drug development to be much more cost effective and much more efficient. And so, it just seemed like a natural progression as we work closer and closer together to put these two organizations, in a collaboration. And then we've chosen this first product, the opioid abuse product, because it represents not only an enormous unmet medical need, and therefore a really attractive, medical and commercial problem, but because it's really a big social issue in the United States. And so we have an opportunity to really provide benefit on multiple fronts together.
David, how does combining AI discovery with Lisata's regulatory and clinical expertise give you a competitive edge over traditional drug development?
So, in traditional drug development, of course, you have very smart people working in the various disciplines, trying to ascertain which products, which molecules will have the best opportunity for success and ultimately make it into the market as a successfully commercialized medicine. The problem is that we have, historically known, and it hasn't changed dramatically, that you need to test literally tens of thousands of compounds for every new drug that ultimately makes it to market. And that's based on all the advances in science and all the smart people and all the tools that we have at our disposal today. With the AI platform, especially the MAT platform from GATC, we have the ability to really use artificial intelligence in a manner that allows us to circumvent a lot of the trial and error that goes into those early stage experiments, getting us into the clinic, and really does I think, a fantastic job of projecting where we should focus our efforts on sorting out those things that could be problematic. And I think importantly, also to focus on those things that could become the encumbrances to actually becoming a successful medicine. So you can, stop development of those things that aren't going to be successful early and really focus on moving forward those things that are better. So I think from that perspective, it really provides a great tool and a great step forward in changing the paradigm to making this a much better process.
Ty, let's bring you in here. Your MAT platform showed impressive predictive accuracy. Can you share examples of how this de-risks drug candidates compared to conventional discovery methods?
Well, great question. Here's the key thing about our AI platform, and I think AI in general, is that it's, as Dave was saying, this is a very powerful tool to augment drug discovery. It's not going to replace it. But what we're able to do is we're able to provide an insight, forecast, if you will, of how a drug would perform in a clinical trial against the endpoints that were designed for that trial. So think of it as I think David mentioned, it's almost like a fast fail tool. So it gives not only science executives, but business executives the opportunity to see into the future. So before they're committing funds and resources towards moving forward at some phase of a drug development or drug discovery project, they can take a look at how it's going to perform in silico. And our platform mimics human physiology really across all diseases. So now they can get very deep insights very quickly so they make decisions how to perform or how to move forward in their drug development project.
David's already touched on it, Ty, but why did you choose opioid use disorder as the first target for this expanded collaboration? And what makes your candidate different from existing treatments?
Great. Another wonderful question. We get that question all the time, and mainly because it's probably one of the most difficult therapeutic areas to tackle. So there's a lot of skill and a little bit of luck involved with how we got involved with that. So we had access to some really good data associated with addiction, and frankly, no one else could make sense of it. So this was, some of the best in the business couldn't figure out what to do. They couldn't determine any or find any new targets. Well, our AI platform was able to uncover a novel set of targets associated with opioid use disorder. And fast forward, we were able to validate those targets and then discover a very small set of compounds that affect all three of those targets in the brain. It is a non-opioid treatment for opioid use disorder. So we're very hopeful, based on the results we've got in preclinical, that we're going to make some major impacts with opioid use disorder. And our plan is to go into humans the first part of next year.
And looking ahead, Ty, how do you envisage AI-driven platforms like MAT transforming the economics and timelines of the drug development industry?
Another great question. So, as far as, Lisata in particular, us, GATC, we're working with a company like Lisata who moves very, very quickly. They think out of the box. That's key because I do believe it's just a matter of time before any biotech company, any life sciences company has to have an AI platform integrated with their process. So Lisata is, I think, ahead of the curve, and there's going to be a lot of benefits for everyone associated with that collaboration. So again, key things that we're hearing from clients and from the market is, in this economic environment, especially this capital restrictive environment, every dollar, every resource that's spent has to be thought out well because there's no room for error. Cash is very important right now in conserving the cash. Making the right decisions that are maybe public indicators of success, that's important. So making sure focusing on the right projects. And I think the third and the big one is because our platform gives very quick insights to either confirm or maybe uncover some new risks that had not been thought about before designing the clinical trial, before maybe committing to a particular drug compound and set of targets. You have that information in front of you. It's maybe for the first time, it's third-party objective data that's now brought into the ecosystem of the biotech company, so they have another source of data to make decisions.
And David, investors will want to know, what are the revenue and royalty potential if the OUD drug proves successful?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, OUD is an indication that really offers a vast unmet medical need and therefore a very large commercial opportunity. I'm certain that if we did an updated marketing study, today or a year from now, you would still calculate the market potential in the billions of dollars, given the size of the program. And that's probably just in the United States or certainly North America. Worldwide, I'm sure it's even bigger than that. The nice thing about our arrangement here is that the two companies share in ownership of the asset in a pro rata fashion. And so as we continue its development and its value increases, either we can choose to, because we have the mutual capabilities to bring it to market ourselves, or see something that would not be unlikely in the pharma industry, which is, as we get further into development, some much larger organization, likely a big pharma organization, would come in and purchase the asset, license the asset, and take it on from that point. And there you can look at the comparables in the business for what typical deals are there, but they're usually tens of millions of dollars up front, tens of millions of dollars in future regulatory and commercial milestones, as well as generally double-digit royalties on sales. So it actually presents both an attractive medical and social problem solver and commercial opportunity for the companies.
Ty, do you see more such collaborations between pharmaceutical companies and, I suppose, AI or tech companies such as yourselves?
I do. I think it's going to be a very rapidly growing trend, and we're seeing it today. I think the key takeaway for us is, we're a technology company. GATC, we're technologists. We have an amazing technology team. What we recognize in Lisata is a very fast-moving, forward-thinking biotech company. So whereby I'm seeing other AI companies partner with big pharma right out of the gate, I think they're missing a step. And by GATC Health working with Lisata Therapeutics, what we're doing is combining AI technology and a fast-moving biotech company to bridge that AI discovery part into clinical trials. And then at the right time, larger pharmaceutical partners could take that through the market and into commercialization. So I think what we've developed here is a model that's going to be indicative of the future of partnerships between AI and biotech.
Well, James, I hope you'll keep us updated on progress with the collaboration. Thank you very much for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's Dr. David Mazzo, CEO at Lisata Therapeutics, and Tyrone Lam, Chief Business Officer at GATC Health.